It's not connected on YouTube, at least. Or it wasn't. I think it's working now. But hello, hello. So I am also streaming over on YouTube because I'm trying to get to more places, but I'm also going to be working, like actually getting stuff done. Okay, everything's working. I'm going to turn off the volume because if I continue to hear myself in double, it is going to confuse me. So, yeah, coaching week. So at this point, it is Wednesday. We are having the coaching week on Sunday. Starting on Sunday, it's going to be a full week, full 7 days of having me on your team as your coach to help you with your language studies, whether you're trying to focus on one language or multiple languages, whether you are brand spanking new to the language or these are languages that you've been learning for a while and you need some support in. Literally all stages of your journey, because I work with people on all stages and I have multiple languages at different stages for my own studies. So if you've never met me before, you have no clue who I am. My name is Bront'e. I am a language coach, which means that I help language learners get consistent with their language studies. I really focus on sustainable study routines so that you can start using the languages that you're learning. I'm just moving this camera here because I notice that some people on YouTube might see me and just wonder, well, why am I looking down? What am I looking at? Now it's kind of at the same angle-ish, I think. Let me double check. So if I put this here, yeah. Yeah, we're doing okay. Okay, we're fine. It's all good. It's all good. It's just now my screen is like kind of blocked, but that's fine. I'll just put everything on this side. So I still have some things to continue working on for the coaching week, some guides, the resources I have not made yet. They're all like there, but it's just not finalized and pretty. So, I got to work on that. Um, and I'm doing a lot of updates in the community space, which I'm very excited about. I guess I could put this over here because it's not like I need to see the screen and see my face. It's more like what is it? Not self-conscious, but like I want to make sure the tech's working feel. So yeah. So as a language coach, I know one of the first questions that people usually ask me when I say, "Hey, I'm a language coach," is, "Oh, what languages do you teach?" That is not what a language coach is. So as a language coach, language learning coach, you know, you can choose which one. I help people with the technical side of learning languages. So I always talk about the duo of a language teacher and a language coach. So if you have a language teacher or multiple teachers, and then you also have someone like me on your team supporting you, it's like the perfect combination of people because you're able to get the information and learn the actual language. So French, Korean, whatever it is, and they're giving you practice time. They're supporting you in the classroom, giving you assignments so that you don't have to figure out for yourself how to get yourself from where you are right now to where you want to be. But then outside of the classroom, how are you going to maintain that? How are you going to actually get the work done? Because that class is not your entire life. You have other things. You have a job, you have classes, whatever it might be. And so as a language coach, I'm helping you figure out how to create a routine around these things and make it really sustainable for you. So anything from goal setting to thinking about the habits you're trying to build, creating a schedule for yourself. Like literally today, I just had an office hours call with one of my students who has been for the past couple months working on French really informally. They wanted to get back into French and we're like, for right now, I'm fine with studying it really casually, because their primary focus was Icelandic and it was great. But they decided just now, she messaged me and said, I really want to get more formal with my studies because now I'm ready to make more consistent progress and not just maintain the skills that I have. So we sat down today. Office hours are usually about a 15-20 minute call because we get right into the nitty gritty. We just go in, talk exactly about the one thing or the two things that you need support with, and then you walk away with exactly what you need to move forward. So we had a conversation about French where in comparison to other languages she's learning, she's like, I want to learn all the things. Like with one language, with Icelandic, she really just wants to focus on reading. With all these other languages, or with French, she's like, I want all the skills. But I know that I can't really do all the skills at the same time in the same way. And she's feeling overwhelmed. So we broke down, okay, well, what are you leaning towards more? She talked about listening and speaking. So we're like, okay, one of the things that I teach all my students and clients is 3 levels of expectations. And so I was like, so your level of good, your lowest expectation is listening and speaking. We talked about specific strategies she could use and all of that, but that's bare minimum. That's what she needs to do. And then the next level, we're like, to tackle some of those other skills that she wants to do. Maybe it's reading. She had a textbook that she could use. And she was like, I don't like the textbook for what it is, but there's some reading in there I could do. I was like, great, perfect. Exactly that. And now let's think about some actual strategies you can use for that reading. We talked about reading out loud, so to help with like pronunciation and intonation, or listening to the CD because it comes with the CD. So like all these different strategies we brainstormed together to really figure out what's going to work for her. And then we figured out the last level, which is her level of best. So good, better, best is how we look at these 3 things. And then ultimately she walked away with that plan. I sent her a summary afterwards, and we're going to follow up next week. But now she's walked away with something that she feels really confident about, versus coming into the calls like, there's so many things I could do with my French. I don't know where to start. That is why I'm here. That is literally my job. Not only am I excited to think through these things because I am an idea person and I have way too many ideas all the time, but I know how overwhelming it can get, especially nowadays with learning languages, because there's so much information out there on what to do, and there's so much contradicting information. So that half the learning community is telling you to do A, and the other half of the community is saying, don't ever do A, only do B. And then there's another group that's saying, never do B, only do A, So it can get really overwhelming and really frustrating. And I like to say I cut through the noise for people, because I'm like, okay, forget about all of that, because literally you could learn a language from a dictionary. What do you want to do? Now let's figure out how to accomplish that. And that's part of the conversations that I have either one-on-one with my coaching students and clients, or in my group coaching session. So this week that I'm hosting, this coaching week, which starts on August 13th, is an opportunity that I wanted to bring to people, especially people that I've talked to and are like, I don't really know if I need language coaching. So I wanted to bring this opportunity to people to give you a taste of, 1, what it's like to have me on your side as a language coach, and then 2, what it's like to be a part of my coaching membership. So I have a language coaching membership, Fluency Mastery Lab, or as I lovingly call it, FML, but we're officially calling it FM Lab. And so doors to that membership are opening on the 18th, and I wanted to, before that experience, to give people an opportunity to feel what it's like to get, again, language coaching in general, or just language coaching within my membership. So it's condensed into a week. It is like hyper focused, because what's happening in this 1 week of the language coaching is not what happens in a typical week in the community, but it's kind of all the best pieces of the experience in 1 week. So there's going to be live workshops with recordings. There are going to be lots of daily activities, because again, it's not just sit and passively like listen to me talk to you and maybe ask a question. It's like, no, you're putting in the work. We're going to get you back on the right track, so that you can, as I say, stop making excuses and start making progress. And we're going to have daily coaching. Like, I'm going to be in there every single day answering questions for people's language learning, whether it's getting feedback on the different action tasks from the lessons, whether it's the activities the days after the lessons, because it's 3 lessons, but we're doing this for the whole week. And if you can't make it live, there will be recordings that are put up immediately after. And then there's some bonus sessions that are like a little bit secret, because you got to opt into it. And I'm very excited about those too, because I'm also inviting the current members of my coaching membership so that they can get this experience. I've been telling them that this coaching week is their opportunity, if they'd like to join, is their opportunity to reset. So if life got in the way, if things have been happening and not been going as planned, that this is one way to get quick clarity, get some goal setting, create a schedule, and then, go on from there with my support because they're already in the membership. And then I also wanted to make sure that this coaching week, that even if people who join the coaching week decide to not work with me, that you still have what you need so that you can move forward again, whether we continue or not. So at the end of the coaching week, my goal is to make sure that every single person walks away with 3 different things, with what I like to call guiding principles, which are basically your why for learning languages. You're going to walk away with anywhere from 1 to 3 specific, achievable, and strategic goals for your language studies. And you're going to walk away with a personalized schedule for your language studies moving forward. One of the lessons that I am making sure to bring to this week was one that I got a lot of positive feedback on, about the 4 different types of schedules. Because I am someone who wholeheartedly believes that every language learner should have a schedule. But if you've tried using a schedule before and it didn't work for you, it's because the schedule you created did not work for you. And I'm going to tell you why it did not work, and then how to fix it. So that's one of the lessons that I'm especially excited about. And then things that I talk about all the time everywhere, like guiding principles. I talk about goal setting because, I talk about goals and habit setting, goal setting and habit building a lot, because you don't necessarily need goals, but I use them as milestones. So they tell me if I'm going in the right direction or not with my language studies, because if I don't set goals personally, I'm going to routine wander. I'm going to be doing a lot of things and feeling like I'm making some progress, but in reality, I'm not actually on the right track because I'm doing everything but the thing I should be doing. That's just how I work. So goals are really helpful for me, but more importantly, when I set those goals, I make sure to build habits around them and routines around them, and that's what I help language learners to do. So that's my rant, and I'm going to continue to be ranting. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here. Usually my lives, when they're not like this focused, they're about an hour, 2 hours. So I might be here for an hour, 2 hours. We will see. But every once in a while, I am going to refocus my energy on, on getting some work done behind the scenes. So if you see me like not really talking as much and kind of looking off camera, off screen here, that's just because I'm working and I might be reading some of the things out loud. So you get a sneak peek into what is being created for this coaching week. But if you have questions, because I did do a lot of talking, if you're watching right now, either on TikTok here, I'm also streaming live on YouTube. So if you have any questions about coaching, language coaching, the coaching week, if you have language learning questions in general, because usually I have tons of Q&As on here, let me know. Absolutely. What are the 10 most important phrases to learn in any language? The 10 most important phrases to learn in any language are the phrases that you will use. You don't like that answer. I'm sure you don't. But I mean that very seriously, because I see so many people in the language learning community asking questions about what's the most important, what's the most efficient. And it's literally about you. Because if I'm never, ever going to go into a restaurant to use the language that I'm learning, like I don't plan to go and eat out in the country, I don't need to learn things about the restaurant. Yes, it's great to know that information, but there's so many words in our native language that we don't know, or like we only know when we're reading it and we never actually say out loud, so we don't know how to pronounce it. And so I'm a strong believer in really focusing as much as possible on what you want to learn and how you want to use the language, which is why clarity is the very first step I walk any person that I'm working with through, whether you're in my course, whether you are in my membership, like one-on-one coaching, whatever it is. Because clarity is what's going to dictate what you learn and how you learn it. Because clarity is not just like your guiding principle, so your why, but it's also how do you learn best? How do you expect to use the language? What are some specific ways that you'll know that you're making progress? All these different pieces and more are going to tell you, hey, if I'm learning this language to talk with my friends and family, what are some phrases that I often say that if I couldn't say them in this language, it would really frustrate me. Those are probably the 10 phrases that you should learn. And like most likely they might be some combination of introduction phrases like a hello and how are you, but they might not. There might be some like slang phrases that you say all the time that you just want to be able to say. And that's really, really important to you because that's a representation of you and your personality and who you are and how you talk. So, I mean, you could absolutely just go online and type in like, what's the most important phrases? But more often than not, that list of phrases that they give you, you're going to find a couple phrases where you're like, no, I actually don't want to learn that. No, I actually don't want to know that. Or that, I'm never going to say that phrase. I'm never, ever going to use that. And that's why I try to make things more personalized. Like the resources you're choosing, the strategies you're using, um, the routine you're creating for yourself, all of those different pieces. So yeah, most people don't like the answers I give with questions like that, but they're all generally the same. Anytime someone asks me any realm of like, what's the most important thing? Like earlier today in a Facebook group, someone was like, what's the most important skill to focus on first in your language studies? And they were like, I hear people say to focus on grammar first or vocabulary. I hear people say listening. I'm like, you ask people, you're going to get a different answer. Everyone is going to give you a different answer, and they're all right and they're all wrong. Because it does not matter what they say. It matters what you want and what you are going to do. Like, for example, if you are learning a language and you want to speak or you want to read it, you never want to speak the language. Why are you practicing speaking if you only want to read books? Why are you listening to the person who said you have to speak it from day one if all you want to do is watch drama and understand it without subtitles? So you have to really put it in context for how you want to use the language in your life. And that takes some reflection. That takes some clarity work, which is why we start there. And it's also why I usually don't share a lot of my language study stuff online. I share it in my newsletter all the time. I'm always talking about like I'm struggling with Russian and my Mandarin studies is a little weird right now. Like all those things. I share it there and sometimes in my Instagram stories. But generally speaking, I don't share it elsewhere because I know from personal experience and from what I've been seeing a lot of people online that it's really easy to see someone who's studying for 6+ hours every day and learns the language in 6 months to a point where they can confidently communicate with people. And you're like, oh, I guess I also have to study for 6 hours every single day. But you have a full-time job, maybe 2 jobs. You're going through school, whatever busy things in life. Maybe you just don't have a lot of energy. But you're putting that expectation on yourself when your lives are different. Your experiences are different. Your abilities are different. Like you can't give yourself that same expectation that someone else did. And so you really have to align your routine, your schedule, your plan to you and what you need. And that's what I do. That's how I help people. So long story short, how do you want to use a language is the first question that I'm going to ask you. Let's see. I realize I should keep this up. Maybe I can put it there. And then I can put this one. No, not that one. Because I can't actually see anything on Notion right now, so it literally doesn't matter if I pull that up. But I can put this here. And I think we're doing okay. Yeah, I think we're doing okay. So any other questions? Like I said, I'm going to be here for a while. So I'll be half working and half like chatting with you all. But if you have questions about language learning in general, about the specific languages you're learning, about language coaching, about the coaching week that's happening, and I'm pointing down for the TikTok people, but obviously on YouTube, all the information about the coaching week is actually in the description below the video. So the link to go to the coaching week, and then for TikTok, if you're watching and you want to join my coaching week, link in my bio. It's all there. Or you can just go to thepolyglotfox.com/coaching week. And then you'll find it. So yes, what do I need to do now? Let's refocus, refocus. What's that? Focus, 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 focus. Like this. Yeah. Okay, so I don't need to keep the office hours up. We're focusing on coaching week. I sent out that email. I have another email to send out later. We have activities to fill in. Oh, that's cute. Oh, this is really nice. Oh, that's so cute. I'm reading over, like I didn't write it, the introduction that I'm putting in the post. So to kick things off, I'm going to introduce yourself, who you are, the languages you're learning or eager to learn, what inspired you to join the program. Right where you belong. Because I am not in the business of telling people, don't be shy, don't cry, don't feel X. I go, hey, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to experience what you're experiencing. And, like my co-teachers say, and we're going to do this anyway, or we're going to do it the way that works best for you. Um, Languages and your vision. Let's see, tell us about your language, learning vision. Are you already working on a language, or do you have question mark? Do you have a specific language in mind you're trying to dive into? I guess I don't need this. That's good enough. And to add a touch of fun to our introduction, share something unique or interesting about yourself. I mean, I guess that's fine. Thank you so much. I appreciate the roses. I am, if I'm ever looking down, I'm like glancing over so I can see what's happening on both YouTube and over here on TikTok. But I'm also getting some stuff done for the coaching week. So if you have questions about language learning, questions about language coaching or the coaching week, feel free to let me know. I did a whole spiel before and I'm going to do it again. I just don't want it to be entirely me just like saying the same things 11 times. So I figure I should also get some work done. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. We're not going to say an interest, an unusual hobby because there we go. Feel free. There we go. Engage by commenting, replying, or interacting with each other's posts. Yep, exactly. And then let's begin. I don't need to, this is adding too many adjectives. Your vibrant introductions. See, this is how I know I come from a very specific generation because as I'm looking at this introduction post, there are certain words that bring up songs just in general. That's just how my brain works. But the songs that come up are like not the kids these days might not know. Kids these days. I sound like I'm old. I'm not. But it's like we're all in this together, and I'm like, oh, High School Musical. That's all I can think of. Um, and me. Ready to dive in? Let's go. I think that's cute. That works. Okay. And then we have generating excitement as we Oh, so then maybe in the introduction post, I don't need this thing. Hello, hello, if you're just joining me. So I am getting some work done, but I'm also here to rant and rave about language learning coaching. If you've never heard of that before and never seen me before, then hello. My name is Bront'e. I am a language coach, which means that I help language learners create consistent study routines, and I also like to say sustainable study routines so that you can start using the languages that you're learning. So this coming week, starting on August 13th, I have to keep thinking about the date. August 13th on Sunday, we are starting, or I'm hosting an experience for language learners called a coaching week. So this is an opportunity for language learners to get 1 week only a taste of what it's like to not just have a language coach, but what it's like to work with me, specifically within my language coaching membership that I have. So I've talked with a lot of people when I first opened up and launched my membership, where some people were like, I'm not really sure if I need a coach. I've never heard of it before, which valid because we're all fairly new in this sort of industry. And so I thought, what better way to give people an opportunity to see if this is something that they need and want and are open to getting support in than a coaching week where you get to experience it. So I've taken all of I don't want to even say all of the best parts of the membership, like there's some parts that are not great, but I've taken all the pieces that are connected, and I really want to give people this overall experience of not just the live workshops that we often have together, but the coaching sessions that we have, the ongoing Q&A that we have within the actual community space where you get to just make a post and ask a question or share something, all those pieces. So next week, we're going to have 3 different workshops. They're going to be live, but they're also going to be recorded. So if you can't make it live, you can watch the recording, and will be posted fairly soon after the live is done. There's going to be tons of activities and what I like to call action tasks, because the goal is not just to listen to me talk and go, okay, I hear you, Bront'e, but to experience coaching. And part of coaching is giving you tasks to do so that you can put in the work and see the progress that you're trying to make. So answering questions that people have about their language studies, whether you're studying one language or multiple languages, whether you're coming to coaching week and are like, Bront'e, I've never learned a language before. I don't even know what language to learn. I'm going to help you with that. Or if you're like, I'm a veteran at this, I've been doing this for a while, I just need help to get consistent because it's been rough these past couple of years. I'm like, I hear you. Let me help you out. And then I have some bonus sessions that people can opt into. There's a little bit of secret. So when you're in, you get to hear about how you can opt into those bonus sessions. And they're going to be partially some additional office hours with me and partially some calls with everyone. That is going to be co-working, collaborating, coaching all in one. And we'll talk a little bit about like what that looks like for people. But the goal of this coaching week is that by the end of the week, whether you decide to work with me or not as your language coach, that you as a language learner walk away with 3 things. You walk away with clarity. We're going to be focusing on guiding principles, is what I like to call them, which is basically your why for learning languages. Then you're going to walk away with 1, 2, maybe 3 strategic, achievable, and sustainable goals. So they're really personalized to you and your needs. And you're going to walk away with a personalized schedule for your language studies. I am a strong believer in creating a schedule for your language studies. Not everyone agrees, but the people who I usually talk to who don't like schedules, the reason they don't like the schedules is because they created a schedule that does not work for them. And one of the workshops that I taught last month or the month before that, was all about like the 4 different kinds of schedules for language learners, and then how to figure out which one works best for you. And I think once people understand that everyone can use a schedule, but you have to make one that works for you, then it's a game changer, because you have exactly what you need, more rigid, less rigid, all that jazz. So we talk a little bit about that, and there's going to be tons of resources. I even have some bonuses that I'm giving to people that I hope are going to be really helpful. So the first thing that I'm giving people is one of my motivation boosting workbooks. So I have like a guide book for motivation boosting, and then I have a workbook, and I'm giving people the workbook so you can actually like take it in and start thinking about the different ways that you can find motivation and stay motivated. So it's like a description prompt, and then you do some brainstorming. I'm also going to create a Notion template because if you've never met me before, I love Notion. I absolutely love using Notion. And I am trying to convert all the people into being Notion users. But I'm also thinking about making a PDF version. It might be in Google Docs, it might be something else. Um, so that if you are like me and like to take notes, you have a space to do all of that. Um, to keep everything neat and organized. And then the last thing that I want to give people is a checklist on how to sort of make a schedule or follow a routine and keep it distraction free. One of the other workshops that I did a couple months ago was creating a distraction free plan and schedule. And part of that work was helping people to unpack and identify what was the distractions, why they were distracting, and how to, avoid them or adjust and, create a routine around it so you're not as distracted and you can be focused. And so I want to give a checklist of how to do that step by step. And then I hope that those resources are helpful. And I'm also just going to be listening to what people are saying, because if people need additional resources, I might just drop some additional resources for people in the coaching week. Because again, I want you to leave the coaching week saying, wow, I love language coaching. Like, I didn't realize that this was all possible. Two, I feel so much better about my language studies now than I did before the coaching week. And then a potential optional 3 is if you decide to work with me. But again, even if you don't, you have everything that you need to move forward if you feel like you can do it on your own or with your group of people, with your free community, wherever you are with your language learning friends. But then if you do decide to continue working with me and to join in on the membership, because that's the whole goal, is this coaching week is giving people a taste of what it's like to be in the membership. If you decide to join, then I'm going to help you continue to stick to that schedule and all of the plans that you've made and hold you accountable to it and check in and help you troubleshoot all of those pieces. It's what I love to do. It's why I'm here live and why when I come live on any platform, I'm talking for like 2 hours about language learning, because I really love to do this. I said earlier, I just had office hours with one of my students today. So this is a group. I'm going to at some point have 3 different tiers for my membership. Right now there are 2. There's the main one, Pro, which is what you'll experience in the coaching week, and then there's VIP, which are people who have taken my course, the Polyglot Project, and then I've sort of transitioned them into the VIP group. They get weekly accountability from me. So every Monday we meet and we have about 30 to 45 minutes of studying together. And then they also get weekly office hours, which is about a 15-20 minute one-on-one call that they get to schedule with me. And we get to just chat about whatever struggle, challenge they're facing, or I help them identify the challenge. If they're like, Bront'e, I don't even know what's wrong, but there's something not working. And I help you identify it, and then we figure it out. And one of my calls today was about transitioning from informal and really casual studies in French to something a little bit more formal and strategic. So one of my students was, for the past few weeks, was really having a great time with French and just doing whatever they wanted to do so that they could maintain skills. And it worked for them because their primary focus was Icelandic. But now they're like, okay, I'm ready to, take it a little bit seriously. I want to be more strategic with it, but I don't really know what to do. It was easy for them to create a plan for Icelandic because they knew that they really just wanted to read the language. But when it came to French, you're like, I want to do all the things. So how do I focus my attention? Like, should I be doing listening, reading, writing, speaking, vocab, grammar, pronunciation, intonation, all at the same time? I was like, no, no, that's where my brain goes too. But no, don't do that to yourself. So we talked about where her sort of instincts were telling her she wanted to lean into more. And then one of the strategies that I kind of touch on in the membership, but I teach in depth in my course, is setting up 3 levels of expectation. So good, better, best, for your language studies. And then we sat down together and figured out what were those 3 levels of expectations for her French studies, being really specific and strategic, because I don't want her walking away from the call. I don't want anyone walking away from one of those calls and still having to make decisions on like resources or strategies. No, everything that we do in that call means that when you walk away, you could literally start immediately after that call following the plan that we've done together. And so ultimately she decided for something like her level of good would be some memorized cards and possibly reading them out loud or listening to it as a bare minimum level of good reading and speaking focus, because there are lots of skills around speaking that help you with speaking but are not directly talking to another person, like pronunciation, like intonation, like sentence building, so many other things. And so she can do that with memorized cards without ever having to schedule time with a friend to talk or, hire a conversation teacher, things like that. And then the next level that she decided on is focus on reading. She has a textbook that she does not like as a textbook, but it has some reading like text within it. I think because most textbooks at the beginning of every chapter, they have like a little reading section. She's like, oh, I could do the reading from that. I was like, great. We have 2 options for that. We could have you read it out loud because that's going to help you with pronunciation and intonation. Or she was like, I have a CD for it. I was like, great. Your other option is listening to it. Now, do you want to choose one of those now or do you want to choose in the moment? She was like, I think I'm just going to choose in the moment. Perfect. Do you see how specific we're getting with what she's doing? Like, these are the conversations that I have with my people, because again, I don't want you to walk away from a coaching session, whether it's in a group with people or one-on-one with me, and are still like, okay, so I said I gotta choose the resource and then I have like 7 strategies I can do. That's going to make you overanalyze, and that is an easy way to procrastinate. Like, especially if you're like me, that is an easy way to procrastinate and tell yourself you're going to do it later, and later becomes almost never. So we're going to stop making excuses and we're going to start making progress. And that is the goal of not only the coaching week experience that I'm putting on next week, but the membership, in general, is I want people to get support and one, validating your experience. I think a lot of people in our community are shamed because of the way or the decisions that you make around your own language studies. And not to say that you can just ignore them, because it's not always that easy. But I hope that by having conversations with me and also seeing the people in the community that, come together for a similar reason, you get to know that doing what works for you is the best decision. And, for some people that I'm working with, that's like 10 minutes a day of studying 2 to 3 times a week. That's what they can handle. And I remember one of my first students in my course was saying that they were doing 15 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And we're like, I never thought that would help me to make progress, because too many people online were saying I needed 3 to 6 hours, 5 to 7 days a week. And it felt so unrealistic. And they were constantly burning out and taking months off and then losing progress. That after doing that with me and saying, 15 minutes, strategic focus of what I'm trying to do and how I know I'm making progress, they were like, this has now trickled into other areas of my life. They're like, I don't think you understand, Bront'e, that now I feel like I have a lot more freedom in what I'm doing. I'm actually having fun with language. I'm like, yes, that's the goal. That's the point. It shouldn't be frustrating. Like, yes, there's going to be frustrating moments, but you shouldn't be dreading the activity that you have chosen for yourself. Because if it's assigned by your teacher, I mean, there's only so much we can do. You can like not have the teacher, or you just gotta deal with it. But then how can we make it like attractive to you? How can we make it achievable and fun? What are the things that we can do? And that's some conversations that we've had. Like another one of my students who was taking some Swedish classes and was like trying to keep up with the homework in the class every week. And we were like, okay, well, what are some ways that we can get it to feel fun? And, this person's also a gamer like me. I'm a gamer. And we're like, playing video games is definitely fun and shiny and exciting. And we want to do that all the time. But then that means we're not studying. So how can we balance that and also a job and also life and also keep up with the class so that when I show up on her classes were usually like on a Monday. So when she shows up on Monday, that she's not like, oh yeah, I forgot to do the homework or I just did it before and I didn't submit it in enough time for people to read it because it was some sort of activity where they would submit it in advance. People would read it over and sort of think of their own questions or things that they would share within the class time. And she was like, I'm never doing this on time. We worked on it for a few weeks because, again, routines take time. And it got to the point where she wasn't even thinking about how to do it because it was happening. And she was feeling more confident showing up to class. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, do you see this? Do you, do you hear yourself when you talk about your language studies now in comparison to when we first started? Because I definitely get some people who, and this might, resonate with you, who, when coming to me, have been told by someone in their lives or have been telling themselves because of an experience that they're not good at learning languages or that they're stupid or you don't have the language learning gene, whatever. And I'm like, no, you're fine. You're just doing a bunch of things that don't work for you and that's why you're frustrated and that's why you feel like you're an idiot, but you're not. You just have to do something different. Hello, Renee. How are you? I am back again a little bit earlier than my normal time, but I'm here. Glad to have you here. I am just ranting and telling stories about some of my students now because I just had an office hours call today and we had our accountability call on Monday. And then I think, oh my goodness, let me check. See, this is why I feel like I missed something. Did I miss something? Now I'm looking at my schedule because I really feel like I missed something really big. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Go to today. Um, it would be on a Friday. Oh my goodness. What's the day? The 9th. My brain. Okay, no, because I have a call with people in my membership and I lose track of days very easily, which is why like my calendar here on my wall and then my Google Calendar are my saving grace. Because if I didn't have those two things, I would forget everything. Like I don't even remember what day it is sometimes. Sometimes it feels like a Tuesday and it's Saturday. Sometimes it feels like a Saturday and it's Monday. So, but I have a call with everybody later this week, I believe. I'm like reorganizing stuff, so it also might look really confusing. It's going to be our reflection session, which is essentially this month in the membership, we are focusing on, well, context. Last month, we 2 months ago, because it's all connected. 2 months ago, we worked on creating a plan for our language studies. We had some workshops on creating a schedule that worked for you and goal setting. And then last month was actually putting that into practice. It was really hyper focused. We had 2 co-working sessions where you get to come on and just sit and, the timer's on, it's silent, get your studying done. And so this month is about the reflection part, which is all about the cycle that I teach in my course for consistency. So it's like planning, clarity, planning, launching, refining. So we're in that refining, reflecting stage, and we're going to have a reflection session, which is essentially us looking at what we've done, saying what worked well, what did not work well, and then what can we do about it. And I just felt like I missed something, but maybe I didn't. I don't see it though. Oh my goodness. Did I schedule it? Oh no. Well, let me go look. I think it's this Friday though. Okay, reflection session this Friday. And okay. I'm so glad I checked. Oh no. Um Past. Okay, I didn't actually schedule it. Woo. And I didn't miss it either. Oh wait, no, we don't want to add that to the calendar. We want to duplicate this. See, there's a reason why that came into my mind. So reflection. Oh, that's why. See, this is what happens when you do too many things. Reflection session. So I made the Canva image for it, and then I never actually scheduled the thing. Like I made it, I downloaded it, and I forgot to schedule it. So that's why it didn't work as intended. And I think I want to start using butter. I'll change that link. No, don't do it later, because if it's anything like now, you will forget Bront'e. All right. So you get to see the chaos that is my brain in action. You're welcome. But yes, as I'm doing all of this, if anyone who is watching right now, whether you're on TikTok or on YouTube, because I'm also live on YouTube, if you have questions, feel free to let me know. Questions about coaching in general, questions about language coaching or like the coaching week that I'm having next week, or just general questions about learning languages. Feel free to let me know any of those things while I get myself back on track. Oh boy. Okay. We're going to call this membership. Video membership group calls. Yeah, membership group calls. And we're going to create. Oh, that's where the image comes from. I can change that. And we're going to start from scratch. Yeah, so I'm trying out this new for me, but a lot of people have known about it before. FML call. Trying out this new website program software for video calling. So instead of like Google Meets or Zoom, I've heard that Butter is fun. And I also just love the name. I think it's pretty cute. They really run with the puns. They're like, have your videos run as smooth as butter. I'm like, keep going with it. I'm all for dad jokes and dad adjacent jokes. So I am okay with that. But yeah, I will start those manually. Participant feedback. No. Okay, customization. Does not matter. What music do we want? Happiest butter alive! Cute! What does it sound like? That's adorable. They have elevator music for the waiting rooms. This sounds like Sims music, but like Sims 2 music. Oh my god, no, you don't understand how much joy this is bringing right now. Oh, okay. What's soul butter? This sound, yeah. Okay. Power butter. We're gonna do Jazzy Butter #1. I wish I could play it for you guys over on TikTok because I'd have to like unplug and my actual live speakers are not that great. Um, so just imagine like smooth jazz as you're walking into a Zoom or walking into a Zoom space. So if you decide to join, you're gonna experience smooth jazz or aka Jazzy Butter #1. uh, oh, see this already is like it's bringing me joy. So why not try this out? We don't really need an agenda for this. I just need the space available. We do need a timer. No music for the timer because the whole point is for silent co-working in at least 30 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And got it. And then the recaps. Got it. All right, so Now I have the link for this, and instead of Zoom, we're going to be meeting. Here's the meeting. And instead of this image of collaboration and co-working, it is going to be the one that I downloaded a few days ago and forgot to add. All right. Yep, this is the chaos behind the scenes that you don't see most of the time. Of me going, wait, did I do the thing? No, you didn't. You forgot. You should be studying and doing things, but it's one of those days just watching me live. You know, take this as your rest day. Don't listen to me because I have no idea what your plan is for your studies or anything like that. So you can study while I'm here. I'm kind of doing some work too. It might not be the most sort of hyper focused time, but you can get a little bit done. But also, I'm glad to have you here, Prue. Let's see, where is it? Or maybe I didn't actually download it. I just created. But I thought, is it in a folder? Probably in a folder. I guess I didn't download it. Now we gotta find it. To Canva. Uh, I think it's the event covers. All right, we're fine. We're fine. I didn't miss it, but I do need to write it on my calendar over here because, like I said, if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget. Reflection at 1 p.m. Yeah, I was like, I knew I made it. And then I made these too. And I know I downloaded them. Watch me find the folder now. All right, so if you are just joining, I have to do my spiel again because it's been a while. If you're just joining and you have no idea who I am, my name is Bront'e. I am a language coach, which means that I help language learners create consistent routines for their language studies, aka something that is actually sustainable, that you can maintain, when life gets in the way. So, for your ultimate goal of using the languages that you are learning, because too many people are learning languages and forget that the point is to use it in some way. I guess I didn't actually download them. That's fine. And so this whole week I am going live every single day. Now at this point, it's Wednesday. I feel like I can do it for the next 2 days. Like it's been good. And I'm literally just talking about the coaching week that I'm hosting next week. So if you've never heard me talk about it before, essentially I have a language coaching membership. We launched back in April. Doors closed. Doors are opening again, which means people can join again if they would like to, starting on the 18th. And in preparation for that, I thought it would be a really great opportunity to give people a taste of what it's like to have a language coach and what it's like to be a part of the language coaching community. And so that's where this language coaching week was born. And so I also wanted to make sure that people who are joining the coaching week, whether you decide to work with me or not, that you get something out of the week beyond just a taste. And that's why we're going to be focusing on 3 specific things: clarity and a little bit of planning work. So you're going to walk away with guiding principles, aka your why for learning languages. You're going to walk away with anywhere from like 1 to 3 strategic, personalized, and achievable goals for your studies. And you're going to walk away with a personalized schedule for your language studies. Because I truly believe that every language learner should create a schedule for themselves. But oftentimes, the people who have created a schedule and it didn't work for them, it's because they created a schedule that does not work for them. And I show you how to create one that actually does align with you and your needs and what you're trying to achieve. It was one workshop that I did a month ago, and lots of people really loved that information around schedule creation. So I was like, why not talk about it again? More details. I guess I can let me update this part. So we're going to have 3 live workshop sessions in this coaching week. But if you can't make it live, there are going to be recordings. because I understand time zones, but also being busy. And that's also why the very first day of it, I wanted to have on a weekend, because I feel like if I had every live session on a weekday and people are consistently busy on a weekday around that time, then you're never going to attend or never going to be able to attend a live. And I feel like that would be really disappointing for people. So the first session is going to be on Sunday. And then I think the next one is going to be Tuesday, Thursday, and then a one on Friday. And again, there will be recordings though. So even the people who have attended live, if you just want to watch it again, you can. You absolutely can. This is our August call to support you with reflecting and refining your study plans and routines. And then more details, so I have to make a duplicate so that I can actually get the post link. So yeah, while I'm chatting over and over again, because I said this, the goal is to talk about the coaching week and to share this with more people. If you are interested in joining the coaching week, as it says below me, link is in my bio, but I'm also actually finalizing a lot of the stuff for the coaching week. It's just what I'm doing right now is the thing that I forgot to set up last week, which thank goodness I remembered. Which is the reflection session for my people. This edit link, August update post. There we go. And I guess I should also make a post about butter. Since I'm trying to transition into using it, I will just copy this whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to give an introduction into that as well. Let people have it. Upcoming. There it is. Perfect. In preparation for our reflection session on Friday and future calls that we would usually have on Zoom, we will be testing out a new platform called Butter, with a grin. You shouldn't have to make an account on their website in order to attend. So, but because this is a different platform than we usually use, I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable with using it beforehand. Here is their guide on using Butter with a link. But while I'm doing this, because I am like half distracted, half not, if you, whether you're on YouTube or on TikTok, if you have questions about language learning, language coaching, or the coaching week, feel free to let me know. If you're also just enjoying this live, please tap the screen and give me some likes, because doing that helps to share this with more people on TikTok. And if you're on YouTube, give me some love as well. Subscribe, likes, all that jazz, because again, this is going to help to get my content and the things that I'm doing out to more people, which I 1000% appreciate every single time. Here's the guide on using Butter. If you have any questions, please let me know. Post. Don't notify. There we go. All right. This is looking good so far. Now back to the thing that I was supposed to be doing, and then I got distracted, which is welcome and introductions. Share a little bit about who you are, the languages you're learning or eager to learn, and just those two things. Boom. We're all here. Perfect. All right. Because this post is the Saturday post. Image and clarity. One thing they love to do is use emojis a lot. I mean, I love emojis, but sometimes it gets a little excessive. All right. So yeah, basically for context, what I'm doing right now is there's a series of posts that are going to be coming out every day with like action tasks for people to complete. Sometimes it's just like rewatch the video. Sometimes it's reflect independently. Sometimes it's actually, completing what we did on the workshop day. And I'm just getting those all prepped because future Bront'e will thank me. That's half the time how I think about a lot of these things. I'm like, I want future Bront'e to be like, wow, thank you so much, past Bront'e. You were so helpful. I appreciate you and your forethought in doing this thing so that I didn't have to. Because otherwise it won't get done. It will not get done. And then I'm going to be scrambling and it's not going to be a good look. It's going to be the behind the scenes that you guys get on lives, especially on TikTok. Let's see. So I have a post. Coaching we go. I guess that's fine. I'll edit those later. It has stuff. It's better than nothing. Yeah, these are not that crazy. And then I think I have the lessons already done because I'm just pulling from things. I don't have this copied. Maybe I have it here. Yes, I do. Boom. And second one, third one. And I think I might just use Notion for the actual lessons because I really like that feel. So how are we doing, everybody? Just hanging out? Are you also working on some things? Do you have questions? You just want to tell me what languages you're learning if you haven't told me already. How long have we been on together? Let me see. Oh, an hour already? Really? Yeah. Does not feel like it. See, this is why I end up on live for 2 hours because an hour in and I'm like, it's only been 15, 20 minutes. No, it has not. No, it has not. Not at all. Not even a little bit. But that is fine. Okay, so I have the lessons. What is this? Oh, that's just a copy. I was like, why do I have 2 of these challenges? Because this is a Q&A call. If you have questions, type them in the chat because we're going to have this in the Mighty Network space. So my community is hosted in Mighty Networks. And so the videos will be there. I'll host it there. We'll have the chat there, the community there. Because that's also where the membership is. So you'll get to experience what it's like to use that platform. and to be kind of removed from Facebook, which I personally like because I probably spend a little too much time refreshing notifications because all my notifications are generally off on my phone. So in order to know what's happening, I have to go into the app and refresh. And that makes me go in the app too many times in a day or a week. Um, but I really like the space that we're in. And like I said, I'm redesigning it. Like I already started and was like kind of confusing myself because I forgot I did that yesterday. I did part of it yesterday during live. Um, and I was also just trying to figure out where all these different things will live. So I think I might have to move some posts around. Like the ask for community support needs to move. I don't remember how to do that. Oh, right there in my face, the words move. Um, and we're moving this to general space. Keep interactions. Just because, so basically, I kind of said this before, but my ultimate goal with the coaching membership is to have 3 different tiers because I really want it to feel accessible for people. So right now there are two. There's Pro and then there's VIP. And this coaching week specifically is to get an experience of what the Pro tier, the middle tier, is like. VIP people are people who have gone through my course. And then I wanted to have a low tier. So Fluency Mastery Lab Light for people who are just getting started, are not really sure if coaching is for them. But that's not something that's actually created yet. It's just my idea. And I feel like after the 21st, so membership opens on the 18th, we close around the 21st or so. And after that is when I can dedicate time to that and to redesigning my course. Because I also closed down my course. So I could redesign and re-record every single video in that course. Which I'm actually excited about. Because I created that course over a year ago. Probably a year and a half ago. And there are some areas that, in having students in the course, I learned, oh, those are things I could explain better or explain quicker than I did, so that people aren't spending a long time watching a video and you're actually spending more of your time doing the work. So I want to go in there and make it better. So I'm excited about that process. But that is not the focus of today. See, this is my brain. My brain does this. Just a little bit of everything all over the place. But yeah, my job right now, today, this week, is to talk enough about my language coaching week and about language coaching to the point where you could quote me on all the different things that I am saying. So if you have not heard the spiel about the language coaching week, or if I'm saying language coaching, you're like, Bront'e, I don't even know what that is. Like, what do you mean language coaching? It's about the technical side of learning languages. I think a lot of us don't learn how to learn. And especially when we're learning multiple languages, it can be really tricky for people to figure out ways to create a routine and maintain the skills and create a plan and troubleshoot the plan, because the plan you make is not the plan you keep. You're always changing it and adjusting it. And so part of my work is helping people to troubleshoot those. Part of my work is helping people set goals, create a schedule, like all these different pieces. And I do that in a couple different, we'll call them containers. One of which is what this coaching week is all about. So my membership for language learners is opening up on the 18th. And in preparation for that, I wanted to give an opportunity for people to experience what it's like to work with a language coach and what it's like to work with me within my membership, especially because I know some of the conversations that I had with people when I first launched were like, I don't really know if I need a language coach. I don't feel like I'm not really looking for a language community right now. And I want you to experience through this coaching week the power of language coaching, the power of having a community behind you, and then also knowing that you can do the things that you set out to do. You just might need some direction, or you just might need some validation, or a think partner to just say the things that you've been wondering if you could do, if you should do, if it was the right thing to do. And I'm going to give you all those different pieces of clarity and really just tell you, like, essentially, you got to do what works best for you. Sometimes that's going against the grain and using a resource that most people say you should avoid because it works for you. Maybe it's a strategy that you're just excited to do, but other people say, don't start there. Does not matter what they're saying. It really doesn't, because it needs to work for you. It needs to be personalized for you. Because again, you could learn, I say again, because I say this all the time, you could learn a language from a dictionary. You could pick up a dictionary because they all have example sentences in them, vocabulary, and they're showing you how to use the grammar. And for example, if you picked up the dictionary and you picked up my sentence building pro course, you would learn how to use sentences to improve, if nothing else, your speaking and your writing. You could absolutely do that. But 9 times out of 10, most of us are not going to, because learning from a textbook sounds boring. And that is why, earlier today, someone was asking, like, what are the 10 most important phrases you should learn in a language? And I put that kind of question in the same category as, what's the most efficient way to learn a language? Which skill should I start off with as a beginner in this language? What is the best resource to use to learn X language? Do you see the pattern? They're opinion questions. You are asking about someone's opinion about a resource, and ultimately you need to make the decision. Yes, it's great to get people's reviews, especially people you trust. Like, hey, have you used this app? And especially for resources where you have to pay to be able to experience it, like, that's valid. But I think people get so caught up in getting this feedback from people to help them make a decision that they essentially just want someone to make the decision for them. And it's like, but you can really understand what is going to work best for you. I can help highlight these things and show you, or help you unpack, the clarity part. What are the ways that you learn best? What are the things that you're trying to achieve? How do you expect to use the language? All these different pieces. But ultimately you have to say, okay, based on all this information, this is where I'm going. Because I think about it this way sometimes. Have you ever, and I know I have you ever asked someone an opinion about, like, something you were trying to buy, whether it was clothes, whether it was like notebooks at a store, like 2 different smoothie drinks, whatever it is. And you're like, which one should I get? Should I get this one or should I get this one? And your friend says, get this one. And your body immediately is like, oh no. That's why you need to make the decision for yourself. But also that experience helps you to decide, oh, I actually wanted the other thing instead. Because again, you're doing what works best for you. Versus if your friend said, no, don't, like, get this one, and you did it, but you didn't like it. It didn't, align with your needs or what you wanted. It frustrated you. You were bored out of your mind. Or you just hated it. Like, that's the opposite of what I want you to do and what I help people with. And so it's really just, it's so important to identify what works best for you and then to stick to that. Because if nothing else, if you do what works best for you, you're going to make progress. You're going to stay motivated. Are you going to have the same energy all the time? No, no one does. But with the strategies that I teach and that, like, us as language coaches are helping people to do, the goal is to create something that is sustainable. It's not an ideal achievable. It's not about having a sprint. There's a time and a place for a sprint in your language studies, and a sprint is just that. It is a sprint. It is not meant to be your permanent routine. So that doesn't mean that you need to be studying for 3 to 6 hours every single day. If you decide to do that for a week or two, great. That is your hyper-focused sprint time so that you can see accelerated growth in your language studies. And then the goal is to not continue that after a short period of time. It's not a marathon of, it's not a marathon length with a sprint speed, because you're going to burn out. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but when I burned out, and I've done it several times, my burnout lasts anywhere from a few months to years of just like low motivation, losing progress because I'm not studying, avoiding stuff, and then just watching everybody else who I was kind of on the same pace with making progress and I'm not. And then I feel guilty. And then I'm feeling even more frustrated because I'm like, oh, I could have. Like, for example, one of the languages that I burnt out on for, I think, a year or two was Korean. I had been learning Korean since 2008, and I was following very closely along with a website. If you're not learning Korean, you don't know of it probably, but Talk to Me in Korean. I was following along as they were building their business, meaning they came out with level 2 of their main course, and I was like, wow, they have level 2 now. And then they came out with level 3, and I was like, wow, level 3, I wonder how many levels they're gonna have. And every level they came out with, I was like, now we've got another set of lessons. And then it got to level 6, and I burned out and I stopped. And when I came back to Talk to Me Korean, they were at level 9, and I was like, I missed 3 levels, and I also don't remember level 4 or level 5. What am I gonna do? And it was really frustrating. I mean, I keep using that word, but it really was, because I almost wanted to just give up entirely. But then my determined, you know, won't give it up self was like, well, you're gonna have to figure it out. And I did. I ultimately did, and am doing still. But, you know, putting that expectation on myself to keep up with, to compare myself, and then I was binge studying too, because I was like, it wasn't even out of like frustration, or I wasn't forcing myself. I was just so excited that I was like, I'm going to study for 6 hours. And then on the days where I wasn't motivated, I was like, well, you already set the expectation to study for 6 hours. So now you got to do it. Big mistake. Mistakes were made. Not a great decision. But I know that now. And that's part of what I like to help people with, is to be like, hey, some of the decisions that I hear you want to make, that's fine. And let's think about how you can do that sustainably. Or I'm like, hey, this decision you're about to make, let me tell you the pitfall that you're going to encounter if you make that decision. Do you still want to do it? Okay, good. You don't want to do it. Now let's figure something else out. And then we talk about that. What's this? Oh, that's nothing. Okay. I guess I can put this over here now. And then I can put this here, full screen. There we go. So yeah. There. Okay. I'm like looking at all the things on my screen right now. But I don't know where I was going with that. See, I got distracted and I lost my train of thought. But yeah, my goal this week is to talk enough about the language coaching week so that you all know that one, this is happening. That two, this is a one-time only thing. This is not an every week thing. And that it's giving you a taste of what it's like to have a language coach. So if you've been wondering, if you've been curious, if you've been following along with me and are like, Bront'e, like, I love your content. I really love what you share. I want to work with you, but I don't know if I want to like commit yet. Then 1 week is like a trial version of that. It's really condensed, but 1 week of this coaching week together. And then, like I said, even if you decide not to continue, you're going to walk away with all the tools you need to be able to continue doing this stuff on your own, or working with me if you decide to. That's the spiel. So let's see how we're doing. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whether you're joining me over on TikTok or on YouTube, hello. And we've been on for, I think, almost an hour and a half now. So I think I'm actually going to stop soon to preserve this introvert energy. And I don't want to say I might be. I'm going to be showing up again tomorrow and Friday because that's been the promise that I've made to myself and to the people who I know show up regularly. So I appreciate everybody who has been coming and stopping by every day to say hello, to check in. And for those of you who have already signed up for the coaching week, thank you. And I am so excited to be working with you during this week. Um, yeah, I don't think I want to keep this up on YouTube post time because my conversation went like this. But if I had any good nuggets of information, I might repurpose it for later. So yeah, I'm hot. And if I turn on the AC, it's probably going to be extra, extra loud and you won't be able to hear me. So I'm going to stop this live on both platforms. But as I said, I thank you so much for watching and sharing support, all of these things. I know this was a little bit earlier than I normally do. I might come back on later tonight and chit chat with people, maybe play a game or something. Who knows? But otherwise, I will see you all. I'm going to say goodbye to YouTube first. I think I'll say goodbye to YouTube first. So if you're watching on YouTube, bye, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to do this again tomorrow because I like this sort of dual thing that I've got going on. So bye.